NXT 2.0 introduced us to some new black stars over the past week, but the question is, are they ready? We're going to talk about it in just a second, so stay tuned. This is WrstlXtra.
Yo, people, this is WrstlXtra. I'm your boy ADazzle, alongside my tag team partner Mekz, the WrestleManiac, if you will.
That's right.
You are watching on the WrestleManiac UK YouTube channel live, of course, and listening on AffinityExtra.com. Folks, this is WrstlXtra, the place where we talk about black wrestling. The only place, the one place that you need to be if you want to know about the cultural happenings of the world of professional wrestling. Let's get straight into it. So, of course, we are here on a Tuesday. We do our show on a Tuesday afternoon in the US, evening in the UK. But, of course, it's a good few hours before NXT. So we are probably the last podcast in the world to talk about NXT 2.0, which came out first premiered last week, Tuesday evening.
Yeah.
I'm you know what? I saw the logo, I saw the branding, and you know me, mate. I'm coming from that background. That's what I do. Blah blah blah. I saw it all, and I was like, this is lazy. Too much going on, a whole load of similar to Dynamite with the colors splashing and all the rest of it and whatnot. But when I first heard that Vince and his buddies were looking to take over some new direction, blah blah, the one thing I was actually quite happy about is and I think I've mentioned this on the show before when we first heard about the news. Is that at least there would be some level of correlation now when an NXT star goes to Raw or SmackDown.
Yes.
We're going back to the days of old of FCW, Florida Championship Wrestling, OVW, Ohio Valley Wrestling, and Deep South, I'm sure was one of them as well. That was development territory for WWE stars. So the likes of your John Cena's, Batista, Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Shelton Benjamin, so many, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, all came from this, either OVW or FCW. And as well, our WWE champion Big E, of course, used to be called Big E Langston. I really wanted to have that name back. I love that name. So we're going back to the days of old. We're trying to pull back and go back to this development thing. It was all set in this kind of like this school gym, very colorful, bright, all the rest of it. And you know what? I was pleasantly surprised, if I'm completely honest. I was pleasantly surprised. I'm still not a fan of all the colors and the logo. Let's get rid of that somehow, somewhere. I don't want the championship to change and it be some colorful, multicolored thing. It just wouldn't look right on Tommaso Ciampa's shoulders. Wouldn't make any sense. Yeah. But I guess with Braun Breaker, it might work with his colorful singlet.
Wearing his dad's singlet.
Yeah, exactly. His dad being Rick Steiner, former Steiner brothers. Let's talk about that because we were introduced to so many faces on that show. Braun Breaker, as I said, was one of them. What's his name? What was his name again? Von Wagner was in the main event somehow. Fresh face in the main event. Wow. We saw, of course, now we're going to talk a little bit more now. We saw Trick Williams, formerly Metric Belton, only signed with WWE, I believe it was last year or the start of this year, alongside who we now know as Carmelo Hayes as well. Now, Trick Williams come in, Great look to him. Great look to him. Chiseled, good looking, good hair, all the rest of it, dressed well, all of that. Can talk. He can talk, which is a good sign, of course. But he's come with this brash attitude, like he's been doing this thing for forever. And I'm just like, hold on a second. Who is this guy? Of course, as I said, he was alongside Carmelo Hayes, who obviously just won the NXT Breakout Tournament. And he was like, Hayes, you're messing about. You are now the breakout star. Where is this cocky guy that we knew from back in the day? Obviously, you know, making it seem as though them two have known each other for forever.
Way back, yeah.
Way back when they were probably in high school or something. I don't know how far back they go with it. Makes it feel like that, which is good. And then eventually now we get this heel turn.
Yeah. From
Hayes. I know Hayes from way back as Christian Casanova, of course, and you know he was very much a heel in most of his time, and very, you know, cocky and all the rest of it. So what I'm seeing now is no surprise to me. I'm very used to it, so it's not a problem. Kind of came out of nowhere, but at the same time, I think for me it works for him. I've got something else to say about it, but I'm going to get your thoughts first, and then I'm going to go back to what I think. Go for it.
My thoughts on what this particular
NXT in general, and then those two specifically.
Yeah, so I thought it was quite refreshing to have a show all more or less new faces. Again, like you said, the branding, the colors, this is a bit too much. WWE have done well over the years with just, you know, 2 colors for Raw or 2 colors for SmackDown, and they could do something similar with NXT. They don't need all of these colors. But I like the arena. I thought they'd done a good job with the look of the arena. I was very bored and didn't like the CWC. So I'm happy with that. But with the talent that was on show, now I can only assume, obviously, Carmelo Hayes will introduce 2 weeks before last week. The rest of them, the Von Wagners, Bron Breakker.
What's her name?
The names, bruv. There was some others as well. And it's like, these guys must be the guys that are top of their performance center class. They are the top of the class. So it's very, very interesting to see their abilities and stuff at the time. Sorry, my son has just broke into my live stream. Off you go, boy. So yeah, it's very, very interesting to see that these guys are the chosen ones ultimately from Vince and where they're gonna go. Now, one thing I did notice is that all of them are obviously big guys, tall guys, as you would expect. I never thought Carmelo Hayes ever needed someone there. He looked like someone that can manage himself. Again, as his work as Christian Casanova, you've seen he can manage himself, even when he's been in little factions and stuff. But they put a tall, massive guy in Trick Williams next to him. Vince McMahon for you, good people. That's what he does.
Yeah.
Bron Breakker, obviously massive. Von Wagner, obviously massive.
Massive guy.
Yeah, this is what he's come to do. This is the look of the guys he wants next. In terms of Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes, now again, I don't feel Carmelo Hayes needed this, but cool, whatever. I don't mind you having a little someone there to rough up people and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I felt like their segment fell flat between those two and maybe the announcer as well. Like, I don't know. I feel like, because the announcer, I know she's been around. Her name, what's her name? Samantha something. But she hasn't, I don't think she's been like in the ring doing something in front of the live audience.
I think the only time we've seen her was when Carmelo Hayes and
Orlando, what's his face?
Not Orlando. It's something. Something. The big guy.
Yeah.
When they came face to face before their final match for the Odyssey Jones. That's the one.
So between Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, Samantha, like I felt like someone was missing their cues. Some lines were missed. Someone like maybe like a line that was meant to prompt someone else never happened. There was just a lot of kind of dead air at times. You see what I mean? And then Carmelo Hayes obviously put the boot to Hudson at the end of the segment and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think they will get it. They look good together,
amazing together.
And I think it will run well. But obviously, for Trick Williams, this was his debut. We've seen him in and around NXT main roster doing security work, and now he's literally been from there and thrusted straight into live TV with lines and everything to say. And like I said, for the most part, he did good in terms of what he had to deliver. But there was some bits where, and again, as black people, I'm there rooting at the TV. I'm like, bro, you have to nail this, because if you don't, they will take you off TV.
They will destroy you.
I was rooting for them to do better. Hopefully, of course, they get a second chance, and wherever we're going with Carmelo Hayes cashing in his, his opportunity, we'll see what those two amount to. But I mean, we'll talk about B-Fab shortly, I'm sure. But yeah,
of course. It was, and you know what? I'm here for it. I was gonna say, all right, I'll just say I'm about it. If I'm honest, about it. I'm here for it. As you said, they look great together. They've got this whole thing where they're both very good looking. They dress well. They've got that whole swagger thing going on, and we're gonna see that in droves over the next few weeks and all the rest of it. For me. And I love the whole dynamic as well. I don't mind the dynamic. I don't mind the fact that Trick's come in and he's done this whole, why are you being so nice and all cutesy and blah, blah, blah. Where's this guy that I knew? And I don't mind that. For me, it happened way too quickly, though.
Yeah. That
could have been something that could have happened over a good number of weeks. So he's got his friend who comes out with him, and Carmelo continues to be, the good guy and, just happy to be here kind of thing. And Trick's like, what are you doing? Or Trick might, in a match or something, Trick might hit someone behind the referee's back. Carmelo wins. Carmelo's like, why? I didn't need your help, that kind of thing. Then eventually we get the turn.
And you know the difference? On a Triple H NXT, that would have happened.
Right.
On a Triple H NXT, it would have been someone just backstage that Carmelo would chill with, and he wouldn't even have any words.
Right.
But see, these two are friends. And then eventually Trick will come out, say his piece, or do something similar to what you said. With a Vince NXT, it's about moments. It's about
straight away
quick results. Like literally, like, okay, this is a guy, we want to be affiliated with this guy, put him on TV together now. No story, no backstory needs to be told. And here we are.
Yeah, and that's true. And as much as you can kind of get away with it because you're now giving us a whole new look and blah blah, you can kind of get away with that, and that's fine. But at the same time, I think it's a missed opportunity to tell a story, to give us a reason to begin to understand Carmelo Hayes a bit more, because he's still fresh to us. We just know him for, I think he's probably had about 4 matches in total, 4 or 5 matches in total. Probably spoke on the mic once, which didn't quite go the way most people, didn't really get it with Adam Cole. Yes, he's had great matches, but we want to know who he is. I think it just would have been a great way to both showcase both of them and give us an understanding of their relationship and all the rest of it, instead of it being rushed 2-3 minute segment and then they randomly take out Duke Hudson. That's all. But apart from that, the dynamic is fine. The duo looks great, and I'm excited to see what they do. I'm now just worried it's lost already. Like, we've already got to the peak, basically.
Well, I guess
that's the problem.
The peak may be, now Carmelo Hayes has an ace up his sleeve, if you like, folks. So when he does decide who he's going after for his title shot, there is someone there to give him a hand. I think that's probably where they can play off it and duo alike sort of thing.
And what's interesting, it's going to be interesting to see where Carmelo Hayes goes now that it's kind of, Vince is a little bit more involved, because obviously Carmelo was chosen by Triple H and those that were running it beforehand. What plans they had, we don't know. Triple H probably would have pushed him towards the NXT World Championship. Who knows? I don't see Vince doing that. Definitely don't see Vince doing that. I'll be very surprised if that happens. So I'm thinking it's gonna be the cruiserweight. So now that he's heel and Kushida's a face, possibly that's the reason why. Very, very possible. Moving on to B-Fab. B-Fab made her in-ring debut, of course. Got a very quick win. Very simple win in my eyes, but a win nonetheless. But at the same time, it wasn't necessarily for the win. It was more the interaction that then happened afterwards with Elektra Lopez. Put her on TV every week, please. She is phenomenal, and I'm not just talking about her looks, but I kind of am. But yeah, you had Elektra Lopez and B-Fab. I've been waiting for their clash for a few weeks now. It's been built up nicely. Great that we got to see B-Fab in the ring before they actually go head to head as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Maybe we'll definitely get more Legado del Fantasma and Hit Row for another few weeks. And that's exciting in itself. Where do you think this one's going, and how did you rate B-Fab's performance?
So, like we're just literally saying about Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes and the way that's kind of been accelerated. This Elektra Lopez and B-Fab thing has been a bit slower, and obviously they've got the factions around them, and it, like you said, it's coming along very, very nicely. Whenever we do get that match, it's gonna be very good. Even Elektra Lopez, we haven't had her in a match as this character. I think she's been a jobber or something before on NXT, but we need to see her now that she's got the backing of Legado del Fantasma.
Right.
So in terms of NXT 2.0, in terms of criticism online, B-Fab was at the center of it last week in terms of the performance, and it was a very quick match. So, people must have been eagle-eyed in maybe missteps or something like that. I can't say I picked up on loads, but it's, I can't say I watched it with my eyes on the screen for the whole match.
Right.
So I think, it's one of those things where, people are always very fast to pick out botches and stuff like that and make fun of people that, you're watching NXT 2.0. You understand the point of NXT 2.0, that they're taking back to basics. And yet you're kind of making fun of someone that they made botches on a developmental show. Like, this is exactly where they want you to make botches if you're going to do it.
But you know what? For a lot of people, it's like it's their excuse to call out botches because you kind of know it's going to happen, or you kind of expect it. So it's like every time it happens, they're like, "Oh, look at that! Oh!" But this is development, as you said.
Like, these people are literally learning on live network television.
Right.
Like, she's having this is her first televised match. We've all witnessed this together. So, like, and they're very fast to call, she made a botch, B-Fab made a botch. But this is a two-way dance. How do you know her opponent wasn't in place for something, or the opponent was half a second late to get to the destination, and then the move looked a bit funny? You see what I mean? Like, it's very easy to point fingers and to call out someone, and I just feel like, it's the first match. It is literally her first match. She hasn't got like a history of this, like some may say, the likes of Lana or Nia Jax or this, that, and the other. You see what I mean? Like, this literally could have been nerves. This could have been nerves.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Like I said at the top of the show, these people that we saw thrusted into these positions, the men and the likes of B-Fab, that now she's finally had her first match. These people must be top of the Performance Center class. To be on TV now, to start NXT 2.0, to be, the first guys and girls introduced to us in NXT 2.0, they must be top of the Performance Center class. So they're the best of who they want to push right now. So we just, again, we are watching them develop on TV. take it easy in all of this kind of stuff, because you'll be the same people that will be complaining in 6 months' time. There's no new stars. They don't push new stars.
Very true.
Because
very
you're the
true.
ones cussing them online, and then that's
very
it.
true.
WWE will bin them.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You know, we know that when we first heard the news of Vince getting involved and all the rest of it, that they did some scouting for a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So, as you said, those that were on the show on last week were definitely the ones that Vince was like, yeah, I want this guy, and I want that guy, and I want this girl, and I want that guy. We've heard rumors of possibly Vince saying that Von Wagner, he sees Von Wagner as a future WrestleMania main eventer. Maybe that's just his size. I don't know.
At this stage, I think it can only just be his size. There's nothing.
Yeah, for sure. Not that he did well for his first match. Yeah. He did well. But I think Braun Breaker is actually, apart from the name, he's actually got strong potential, massive potential for me. And everyone else did as good as they needed to be honest. We saw on 205 Live as well, Malik Blade, formerly known as Joshua Dawkins, who only signed literally like about a month or 2 months, not even a month ago, with WWE. He made his first appearance as well, showed great skills. He's one of those guys that got speed and agility. I didn't want to say this because he's another black star, but very similar to like a Kofi Kingston in the sense of he got that agility. He's not like a high flyer like Cedric Alexander or Cruiserweight, not that type of lucha libre style, but that very, fast and agile, very good drop kick and all that kind of thing. Unfortunately, he lost his first match, but he's got promise as well. I'm excited to see what happens. My only concern with NXT 2.0 now is the consistency. We had a whole load of these new faces. We even had vignettes of new faces.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, right, how long is that going to last? How often are we going to see, that amount of people on the show each week? That's my only concern with NXT 2.0. But apart from that, I'm invested in it, if I'm honest. I'm actually very invested in it. And very interested to see what happens tonight as well, and where it goes from here. Tommaso Ciampa as NXT champion again, not a bad choice. Pete Dunne was a better choice, of course. Birmingham boy.
Dunne is too short. Come on, this is Vince.
I'm scared. I'm scared for Pete Dunne, but he signed a new contract as well, so that hopefully shows a bit of promise and a confidence in him as well. So we'll see what happens with NXT 2.0. Moving on. Do that, of course.
Alex Harrison, in regard to NXT 2.0, my comments have just disappeared.
Here we are.
Can you see it on the?
I can see it.
I can't read it, so you might.
I'll read it. Alex Harrison says, NXT 2.0 is designed to compete with AEW's minor league show. I believe that's the case, but at the same time, now that it's not, they're both not on the same night or blah, 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 and at the same time, we'll see. Obviously, we know that Vince kind of got involved because NXT lost out to Dynamite in that Wednesday war. I'm actually quite surprised Vince actually cares, but here we are.
NK had one. I think it's this one.
Yes, NK says not 2.0 isn't something I would personally watch. Not my style of show, but I guess it fits in with what WWE wants to do with their talent. And this is why for me it works. I'm happy with it because it then gives me confidence that we're going to see, if Braun Breaker wins a championship or something or becomes someone in NXT 2.0, when we then see him on the main roster, we're going to get the same guy. Yeah. And not a completely different guy. Yeah, we're going to see that continuity is going to make sense. For me, that alone is enough. Yes, we're probably not going to get the type of NXT takeover shows. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with their pay-per-views from now on, actually. But we're getting continuity. And I think that was the one single thing that was missing between NXT to SmackDown or Raw. So yeah, I'm here for it. Let's move on to other new things. We learned just today that Keith Lee now has a new look and a new name. So for those that don't know, on Raw, Keith Lee came in a dark match after Raw was live. So those who were in attendance were lucky enough to see Keith Lee in action. And Keith Lee came out and was announced as Keith Bearcat Lee. Yeah, the silence is real. I'm going to educate everyone about what Bearcat is and where it's come from and all that kind of stuff. But I already feel as though they're trying too hard with Keith Lee and this new heel direction. Thankfully, one thing that I love, he's got his beard back.
Yeah.
He's got that facial hair back. He now looks like Keith Lee again. Thank God.
Yeah.
So that's great. So just for those that don't know, for those that who are baffled, even more than me, Bearcat, the name Bearcat, we believe now is in, I guess, honor of former wrestler from the 60s and 70s called Bearcat Wright. Bearcat Wright is actually the first ever black world champion in pro wrestling history. Most people think it's Ron Simmons, who, when he won the WCW championship in 1992, no. Ron Simmons is the first recognized black champion. Others believe it to be Bobo Brazil. Bobo Brazil also won a world championship in 1966, and he's believed to be the first black champion. Most people would say that it's him, but no. Bearcat Wright, who's actually billed from Kingston, Jamaica. I don't think he actually was, but he was billed from Kingston, Jamaica. Kofi Kingston before Kofi Kingston, even championship and where he's from. He actually defeated Freddie Blassie, who is a WWE Hall of Famer, classy Freddie Blassie, in 1963 for the WWA World Championship. That's the same one that that Bobo Brazil won as well, but that was 3 years later. With that whole story, Bearcat Wright defeated Freddie Blassie, but refused to defend it. He actually refused to defend it. But it was around the same time as, you know, the whole segregation thing was going on. Martin Luther King was on everyone's lips. And, actually Bearcat Wright refused to have segregated matches. So at the time, it was still only black versus black and white versus white, and there was never really black versus white. So it was actually amazing to see that he actually had a world championship opportunity against Freddie Blassie, who was a white guy, of course, and one of the biggest names at the time. But yeah, he was eventually stripped of his title, and it was never put in the record books that he was actually the champion. The same thing happened to Bobo Brazil. This is why we say that Ron Simmons is the first recognized black world champion. So going back to Keith Lee, this is where the Bearcat thing comes from. It's a nice tribute. I get it. It's nice, but no, just no.
Let Keith Lee be Keith Lee.
Exactly.
The second coming of my man. Like, we don't need. I understand the similarities. I've been educated by yourself, by another guy in our group chats called Earl. Earl's very knowledgeable. Earl let us know about of Bearcat Wright and his ability. He went on to say that even in style of how they wrestle, Keith Lee is very similar. Like, that
very similar.
Big man. And Earl also said, I think that Bruce Pritchard would have watched a lot of Bearcat Wright, and maybe that's why the influence has come over to Keith Lee. But just let Keith Lee be like, you have absolutely tampered with something that had no issue, no problem. The only genuine thing that happened to Keith Lee was, unfortunately, the illness between himself Mia Yim, whatever the case was, and he was off TV for a while. Nothing else needs touching with Keith Lee's anything.
Just give me the Keith Lee that was on NXT. Same attire. Obviously, we've got his beard back, thank God. Just let him be him. He can talk if he needed to. And he can do whatever he needs to do in the ring. I mean, even with when he first came to the main roster, apart from them changing his attire, giving him that whack music that he had at first, shaving his face, those three things were just a mess. But luckily, everything else was fine. I'm sure we're going to still get the same thing, but now there's this heel turn. It's very unlikely. It's very unlikely that we're going to have the fast-moving hybrid Keith Lee as a heel. We're probably going to have a watered-down style, a lot more powerful, which is not a problem necessarily, but we know Keith Lee for being Keith Lee. That's why he became Keith Lee.
In the first place,
In the first place. On the indies, it's why, the likes of NXT picked up on him. It's why he became massively popular in NXT to then go, face up to Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar and whoever else in that span of 12 months that he had, which was phenomenal. Now we're just going to get a big angry black guy.
And it sounds that it will be
that simple.
Very kind of, what's the word? Basic. That. He will have no depth to him. He's just meant to be just some monster of some sort. I wanted to ask you, obviously we heard the rumors about, Adam Cole was supposed to be the manager for this. I can only assume that, lazy WWE, well, Adam Cole's gone, we'll just plop someone else into this position and make someone else manager. Do you think that may still come to pass? And who do you think the manager could be if they do something?
You know what? I didn't think about that at all. That's a very, very good question. I can't think of anyone who it could be. The only person that would make any sense for me, Adam Cole would have made no sense whatsoever. Not that he would have done a bad job. He would have been absolutely perfectly fit for what he was asked to do. Adam Cole can trash talk for days. Just in the same way, Leo Rush fit perfectly with Bobby Lashley then. But with both of them, it would be a waste of talent, in-ring talent. Obviously, we know Adam Cole as a former NXT champion, the longest reigning NXT champion, I believe, or one of. 2-time, he won the North American Championship. He was massive on the indies before he came to NXT. You say the name Adam Cole, and straight afterwards, most people are saying Baby straight after. That's how you know how popular he is. So for him to just then be someone's mouthpiece would just be ridiculous. But for me, if anyone was to fit in that space, someone who's on Raw already, this wouldn't even be the greatest, but Drake Maverick is probably the only person I can think.
That was my guess, because all of a sudden they've brought man back to the main roster. Yeah,
that's true. Drake Maverick would kind of make a bit of sense. If they really wanted to go there, Stokely Hathaway, Malcolm Bivens would be perfect.
Yeah, perfect. He's doing his thing right now.
Yeah, he's doing his thing.
I thought either Drake Maverick or Gargano. I actually thought Gargano, it could be him.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
Your lights went up. Yeah.
Undertaker's
behind you.
Let me just put my son on blast for a quick second.
Go for it, bro.
This guy's today has destroyed the TV in the living room. I'm not joking. No. He threw his Batman toy at the living room TV, and it's busted. Now he's jumping above my head, and that's why the lights have went out. I'll fix it in a second. And obviously he done the run-in as we started the show. This guy is mental. He's on one today, and once I'm done here, discipline. But
listen, folks, don't call social services. If you hear anything coming from any news from the London area of a young boy.
let me hit you with some comments. I had to go on my phone to get the comment, but
fair enough. Let's
go. We've got Talk of Champions Shantice in the chat. Nice to see you here, Shantice. She says there's also Bearcat Brown, but I don't think that's what they're paying homage to. And she thinks as well this is definitely a Bruce Pritchard thing. NK says, I worry for Keith Lee on the main roster. I understand the name has history and significance, but their booking with him has been all over the place. Don't be surprised if things go left for Keith Lee. And I can see Jonathan Rodney in the chat. Thanks for joining, bro. He said, this Bearcat thing is foolishness to me, even with the backstory and things, but it's a no from me. They're just messing Keith Lee up with this. He will be a dope heel if they put him, I guess that's meant to say, in the right situations.
I don't doubt Keith Lee as a heel. I don't doubt Keith Lee in whatever situation they actually put him in. He'll do what he needs to do, but it just won't be what we want to see, I guess. You know what I mean? It won't be what we want to see. And that doesn't necessarily mean, he won't be doing the same things in the ring. He might still, but there still would just be this disconnect because we're just not getting the Keith Lee of old, the Keith Lee that we know and came to love. It's that simple.
Well, if he's becoming a heel, they're taking away, all of his high flying moves and all of those.
That's what I'm saying.
Crowd. Those are going. They've been binned already. So it's worrying because we've seen so many times with the likes of Aleister Black, for example. I think back in a few years ago, Mojo Rawley. Not that I care, but these folks that they were making a big thing of them turning heel or having vignettes or having dark matches before they put them out on TV again and all that kind of stuff. And then now, both guys are gone. That's it. Oh,
so I'm scared. I'm scared. Yeah. Exactly. It didn't work. All right, let's forget it. Let's not bother anymore. Gosh, it's worrying. It's worrying. But moving away from Keith, and we'll move away from WWE for a second as well. The other big guy that we want to talk about, as well as his faction friends, is Powerhouse Hobbs. Again, I think we just need to change his name back to Will Hobbs. But anyway, Powerhouse Hobbs. Yeah. Had, of course, a little bit of a run-in with CM Punk last week on Dynamite, I believe it was, or it was on Rampage. I can't remember. But we're now seeing the build-up now of Team Taz versus CM Punk. CM Punk's already said you can take out all three of them, even Taz as well if you want to throw Taz in there. Let's go. Big words from the cult of personality himself, CM Punk, aka Phil Brooks. Where's this one going? Where is this one going? That has been the big question on social media, on Twitter. Yes, I'm back there. On Twitter, where is this one going? Is it to build up Will Hobbs? Are we going to see... I heard the rumor that the first match is actually going to be against Hook, Taz's son. Will Ricky Starks show his face and get involved as well? Will Brian Cage help CM Punk at some point? Is Taz going to get involved? Who's going to be on the mic more, Taz or CM Punk? Like, what's going on here?
I mean, so they've booked for this Friday, this Grand Slam Rampage, CM Punk's first TV match against Will Hobbs. So congrats to everyone involved. This is the kind of stuff, again, we've been shouting out for. It's not about necessarily putting a championship on these black stars, these budding black stars, but it's putting them in meaningful things and meaningful positions against.
That's where we start. Yeah.
So exactly, that's where we start. So and Will Hobbs was excellent last week in that decimation of CM Punk. Everything he did, from his facial expressions to putting him through that table or bouncing him off that table.
Table didn't break.
He sat down and done the CM Punk kind of pose at the top of the stage. Everything was just so well done. And he had a promo, I think, after that, which actually aired on Rampage. So I'm looking forward to this match. I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see how CM Punk, how he performs for Will Hobbs, how he's going to sell for Will Hobbs. Is CM Punk going to actually come out winner from that match, or is he going to lose his first match? to the bigger man. It's going to be very interesting how they put that all together. But in terms of Team Taz, I think as well, this is probably like the shot of energy they've needed. A lot of us like Team Taz, but they have just done a lot of nothing at the same time. Carrying around a meaningless title, losing any major feud they get put in. So, and now Brian Cage doesn't even look like he's a part of them anymore. Hook has become incredibly popular with the ladies online of the Twitter of the wrestling community, the internet wrestling community. So, I think eventually it's for CM Punk to work his way to the real existing star right now in that group, who is Ricky Starks. So he'll probably work his way through Will Hobbs. He'll probably give Hook his first wrestling match in
that'd be phenomenal for him.
Life, his debut against CM Punk. Imagine, like, go tell your friends that. What did you do on the weekend? Oh, I just wrestled CM Punk.
Yeah.
So he probably does that, but I'm guessing the payoff will be, CM Punk versus Ricky Starks, maybe at Full Gear, which is November. So we could work our way slowly up to that.
I believe so. For me, I'm seeing Will Hobbs, Hook, Ricky Starks in that order. I'm hoping that Ricky Starks wins their first match.
That could be good.
But by disqualification, Will Hobbs or Hook gets involved, all that kind of thing, and he wins, or something along those lines. Not clean. I'm not expecting that to happen. I don't think I even want that to happen, because that would just kill the whole. It wouldn't make any sense in terms of the CM Punk return and blah blah. It just wouldn't make any sense. But then at the same time, it would give Ricky Starks bragging rights. Not that Ricky Starks needs anything else to brag about, because he is Ricky Starks. That's all he brags about enough already. I think it would be perfect to elevate him while still having CM Punk make his transition at least to some kind of world championship eventually, or whatever it is, or a bigger star like Kenny Omega or Adam Cole even, or whoever else it is, even an MJF right now, obviously based on how AEW see their stars, because Ricky Starks is better than MJF. But anyway, one of those ones there. So Ricky Starks wins the match, and then when they have a rematch, which would be a proper match, maybe some kind of stipulation, who knows, CM Punk then wins that one, and then we carry on. Whether that feud carries on for another few weeks afterwards or whatever else, who knows. But for me, if there's not a Ricky Starks win in there somewhere, it'll be pointless to me.
All for what? Yeah.
It'll be pointless. And I'm not just saying that because I love Ricky Starks, because he's the Black Star, or the rest of it. I'm saying that simply because it would simply just make no sense. Again, another big feud for Team Taz to lose.
That's what it goes back to, because like we said, like, it doesn't matter, obviously CM Punk would be the biggest name that Team Taz has come up against, but this has been happening against everyone else they've come up against. The same with Christian. Like, we need a triumph in there. You see what I mean? Without, it's obvious that someone will get their revenge and, it'll level out or whatever the case is. But they need a big win. They need to win one of these feuds that they're put in. Otherwise, it don't make sense. Like, they can't be running up their mouth and all of this stuff about they're the toughest and Taz, don't choose my guy, keep my guy's names out of your mouth. You can't back your talk. Like, they need to win. So.
Yeah. And even with the magnitude of who CM Punk is, CM Punk versus Will Hobbs, CM Punk wins. It's weird. We know it's gonna happen. We know CM Punk is CM Punk. That's fine. It's not a problem. But then to have another two guys, however inexperienced Hook is, another two guys then, and you're winning all three matches in a row or whatever the case may be, nah. Someone has to win somewhere.
Yeah, I would like to think on Rampage, because again, Rampage on Friday will be CM Punk's first TV match. I don't see him losing it.
Not at all.
But I like to think they do it in a smart way. Maybe Ricky
Mm-hmm.
Starks tries to interfere, then Brian Cage might come out to back CM Punk and
Right.
I don't know, knock out what's his face, Will Hobbs or something like
Hobbs.
that, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Punk gets the win.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, just on an aesthetic level, how is CM Punk beating someone the size of Will Hobbs? So yeah, there's ways to do it. Let's hope that
Mm-hmm.
Will Hobbs is protected in defeat somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, like I said, Team Taz need a win somewhere.
Need again. It's not a black thing. It's not a this is my favorite guy thing. It literally is just making pro wrestling sense. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Are there any comments on this one?
So NK's just said here, CM Punk ain't losing. I hear what you're saying about Team Taz needing a win 100%. They've been on a losing streak, but this is Phil Brooks, aka CM Punk. I can hear NK's voice in his face. This is Phil Brooks, aka CM Punk. He ain't losing anytime soon. No, I hear you, NK. But like I say, it's the way he can.
There's still a way it can be done.
But there's a way it can be done.
Yeah,
One
definitely.
thing before we move on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen this because I've been waiting for you to comment on this.
Okay.
Have you seen that Mark Henry has been removed from the Rampage commentary team and they're replacing him full time with Ricky Starks?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure I read that from a genuine source. I'm sure this is genuine news. And I don't know
that completely,
why
bro.
Mark Henry's been removed. I don't know why Ricky Starks is moving to a comment. Well, I don't know why they feel they need 4 men in the booth. And yeah, I don't know.
I have to say, I'm not the biggest fan. I mean, they make some good decisions, but I'm not the biggest fan of AEW's approach to commentary in general. The 4-man thing, no. Having active wrestlers on there every week, it kind of works. I mean, they've made the choices haven't been that bad. Eddie Kingston's great. Ricky Starks was good when he was doing his thing. To put Ricky Starks there full time as an active wrestler,
he was there on Rampage this past week, I believe. I'm just seeing Jonesy Chats Wrestling says here in the chat, Ricky Starks has great charisma and Mark Henry would be fun to see back in the ring. I mean, I'm not denying any of that stuff. I just don't feel there's a need.
There's a need. What's the actual point? Yeah.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure I didn't make this up. I'm pretty sure I've seen this from a credible source. I wish I could just reference it right now, but yeah, it's. I don't know why.
I'll have to check that one out, mate.
I don't see why. But yeah,
I'll have to check that one out. But yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Even having Chris Jericho on commentary regularly is weird to me.
It's 100% weird, but I'm such a Chris Jericho fan that him just shouting nonsense down the mic just entertains me.
He's not bad. In no way is he bad. And that's the thing. Like I said, like with some of their choices, they've not been bad choices. These people have been good and they're there to be color commentators and they've added the color that they needed to add. It's just weird to me. More so with Chris Jericho because he was going through whatever he's going through with MJF and blah, blah, blah. And then it's just Chris Jericho on it's just weird to me. And I don't necessarily see the need, but this is where we're at. Again, they're not bad, so they'll look at it as something that's not broken. So what are we fixing? Yeah. So I get it. Moving back to the WWE, and of course we now have Big E as the WWE Champion. What happened on Raw yesterday, bro, was mad. It feels like it's Vince just pulling out moments again. So how long will this actually last? I don't think it will last long, and it will die a very difficult death in my eyes. But we had the amazing match of the New Day versus the Bloodline, which was great. Great action, great match. Even the ending, Bobby Lashley came out and destroyed everyone, which was absolutely amazing for me. And then we had a triple threat match triple threat dream match in my eyes. Bobby Lashley, Roman Reigns, and Big E. The way it ended was exactly how you expected or wanted it to go down. Bobby Lashley took the fall. Roman Reigns won the match. Makes complete sense. We know who the big star is in Roman Reigns. Obviously, Lashley's not a champion, so it would have been a bit wrong for Big E to lose to anyone. So great, makes sense. I guess for me, though, my question that I'm going to is, we see Big E now. He came out with the New Day at the top of the show. Yeah. We saw two sides of Big E on the show yesterday. My question is, what type of champion and what type of reign do you expect Big E to have moving forward?
It's a difficult one because of their own doing, and there's a lack of stars to compete against. There's a lack of pipeline, if you like. Okay, he'll have his rematch with Bobby Lashley. We all assume that Drew McIntyre is going to move over to SmackDown, so he's not going to face Drew. And we need, some heels for him to come up against. I'm sure Keith Lee will possibly be one if they're doing this whole rebrand of Keith Lee. You want to help me out? I'm struggling for who's heels on Raw. Like I'm thinking, who's a top level heel on Raw?
The other person you've got is Sheamus. The Miz is dancing on TV now.
Yeah, he's dancing
so forget
on
that.
TV. So maybe when he returns, he'll come back with some, I'm a star in Hollywood nonsense.
Yeah, true.
Demand the title match. Big E can beat him. That's fair. Maybe, Seth Rollins isn't going to move over to Raw without Becky Lynch. So I don't know if that's really going to happen.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
AJ Styles, possibly Randy Orton after he turns on Riddle. There's a couple people there, but it's like, these names I'm mentioning in their current iteration on TV, none of them are really threats.
Nah, no one apart from Bobby Lashley. Someone said Karrion Kross. Not right now. He should be, but definitely not right now. Mekz has probably still got his mask and sellotape on the floor.
Yeah, unless you're talking about me, Lincoln, then I can give him a run for his money. But
it's very difficult. It's very difficult to predict the type of reign he's going to have. Of course, a lot of things will change when we have the draft. I think that's going to be in 2 weeks? 2 weeks, something like that. First week of October. We've got Extreme Rules coming up on Sunday. I guess we have to wait for the draft to really have an understanding of what we're going to see, or the challenges we're going to have for Big E. In terms of the way his reign's going to go and what type of champion he'll be, he's definitely not going to be a Bobby Lashley. He won't be the powerhouse threatening guy coming out in suits and whatever. We're gonna get the New Day Big E. We're just gonna get the New Day Big E. He'll be intense when he needs to be intense and whatever else. And I guess it's okay, but it just isn't enough for me. The way he came out for that triple threat match was perfect, was amazing. I want to see that guy all the time, but it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
At all. It's going to be interesting to see what and how long it's going to last. That's the other thing. I'm not expecting a 6-month run. I'm not expecting. I'll be very surprised if he goes past Survivor Series. No, Royal Rumble will be the last pay-per-view for me that he'll still hold that championship. Even that's going to be probably too far. Honestly. And you know what? I kind of see Bobby Lashley either winning it back, or Bobby Lashley is going to come for that Universal Championship, bro. He might go to SmackDown.
I mean, I've always stuck by this, and I always have thought, if there's anyone that, I don't believe The Rock is going to beat Roman Reigns for the title. I don't even think by the time they have that match, Roman will be champion. I think they'll just have that match as a massive marquee match.
Okay.
I've always believed that Drew will be the guy to beat Roman.
Okay.
I still believe it. Even last night, I went to WWE Live in London. even more so how, like, you know, what they got Drew to do on the show, give that kind of
right, because it was a SmackDown show, right?
Yeah. Give that rah speech, and this is their guy. Drew is their guy. When Roman needs to take a break or they need to promote someone else, push someone else as the next company, Drew is their guy. I firmly believe that, and I think that's why Drew's moving to SmackDown, and I think that is actually going to be the WrestleMania main event for next year. Roman versus Drew for the title, and that's where Drew will beat him for it. And yeah, I see Bobby Lashley being a very good contender, but you know, he's lost the title to Big E. He's lost to Roman now in this triple threat match. He's probably going to lose to Goldberg in Saudi Arabia.
More than likely.
They're slowly, you know, they can still resuscitate him because he's very believable just in his appearance alone. But they have to kind of be careful with how many losses they're doing.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true.
We've already identified there's a lack of guys at the top on either show. So for us to still believe, I don't know what kind of slow road Lashley could take to get back to Big E. But yeah, I mean, from what I've seen already, I can't see this being a very interesting run. It always does seem better anyway when a heel is the champion and you've got you know, the plucky baby face, a long story chasing him down, and then he eventually wins it, and then it's all cool and stuff. But Big E, as much as I'm so happy we've got to this point of Big E as champion, it's not even him, it's them. I can't trust a roadmap which ensures success for this type of run, and that's what everything's a bit foggy for me.
I mean, even you know, we probably shouldn't do this, but if we were to compare, you know, our recent black champions in Kofi, Bobby Lashley, and now Big E, for me, the one who will have the lesser acclaimed, I guess, championship run, I expect it to be Big E. Kofi's was long, but for some reason, I personally don't see it like this, but a lot of people thought it wasn't that great of a run, and all the rest of it. Bobby Lashley is by far the most legit. Just phenomenal. Almost, you know, for me, almost as good as what Drew's was when he was champion. But yeah, I'm not necessarily expecting anything major from Big E's run. I don't expect it to be long. I'm hoping it'll still have substance regardless. But we'll see. But as we said, right now though, there's no one on Raw to make you think, oh, he's going to lose to this person in a few weeks, or he's going to lose to that person at the next pay-per-view, or whatever it is. He's not losing to Lashley. That's not happening for now. So he'll have it for a while.
If they look at it coming a couple months' time, and you know they're still on their whole numbers thing, looking at AEW over their shoulder, and they're thinking, "Oh, Big E's maybe not drawing as a champion." I think the best way they can keep Big E intact and maybe take the belt off him is write a storyline where he puts the title on the line in the Royal Rumble. Like we've seen it before. Whatever the case is, and tries to run through everybody or whatever the case is, and comes up short, and you just name another champion that way. That way he hasn't necessarily been pinned. He might have just been obviously thrown over the top rope or whatever the case is. And yeah, I don't know, just take it off him and then crown whoever you really want as champion at WrestleMania. But this is not for a lack of trying from Big E. Obviously, we're only like a week into his reign. It's just because of how the state of WWE is right now. Right. There's no one else, so you can think, okay, this could be at least, you know, everyone even in their run has like that iconic person they keep battling, they keep you know, bumping heads with for the title. Who's that gonna be for Big E? Like
Jey Uso.
The right hand man.
Oh Lord. But yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. We've got less than a minute. I think I'm gonna go for it real quick. Stars of the week. I'm gonna go straight in there. My one is you know what? It's Big E. It's Big E. I mean, come on. He won the championship. He had a great match and great showing last night on Raw. 2 matches that were really good, very, very good matches. And right now, Big E is 1 underneath the top of the ladder. Obviously, Roman Reigns is on top. So yeah, Big E for me. Yourself?
I honorary mention to Bianca Belair. I thought her performance last night on the live show I went to was just incredible. Seeing those feats of strength and the athleticism in real life, like, no. And just shout out to everyone, all the wrestlers. Because, yeah, you actually see firsthand what they're putting their body through and everything. So,
it's crazy.
But I'm gonna give it this week to Will Hobbs.
I knew you were going to say Will Hobbs. I think that was the only other person it could have been, to be honest.
Yeah, Will Hobbs and in that segment with CM Punk, Will Hobbs, Hook, they were just all brilliant together, you know, selling what they had to sell to get to the point of this match on Friday that they're going to have on Rampage. It's just good to see, you know, this is Will Hobbs, which a bit tongue-in-cheek, we were just looking at him, you know, months ago on Dark, losing streak. Like he was the kingpin loser on the Dark, like before anyone else started having them losing streaks. Then he got signed, then he got pushed on TV a bit, you know, straight into Team Taz afterwards, and yeah, he's just flourished. And CM Punk, you know, this isn't nothing to sneeze at, like, let's be honest.
Not at all.
So
not at all.
Massive spotlight for him. Probably will be, you know, either the main event or the first match on the Rampage show, the 2-hour show. So yeah, great to see. And yeah, I'll choose Will Hobbs.
Very quickly before we finished, BITW 1989 in the chat has actually said Jonathan Gresham as a wild card. I'm going to challenge that because Jonathan Gresham, obviously from ROH. For me, Shane Taylor promotions in general have been phenomenal over the last week or so. They lost a match, but then when it came down to it, when it all mattered, they retained their 6-man championships. So for me, Shane Taylor, and they're just heavily popular amongst us on Twitter and social media. It's a shame they're on ROH. They need to be on AEW or WWE for everyone to see what these guys are doing. It's crazy. So Shane Taylor promotions.
Very least.
Even Impact. Oh my God, Impact would be amazing for them. Oh my word, that would be great. But on that note, folks, this is the end of the show. Thank you everyone for joining us in the chat on live, and everyone that will watch this later on, and of course will listen on AffinityExtra.com. I am your boy ADazzle. Find me at Black Wrestling Alliance on Instagram, Black Wrestling A on Twitter. And of course, you can find this guy on Twitter, WrestleManiac UK, and on Instagram, WrestleManiac.uk. Folks, this has been us. This has been WrestleXtra, and we will see you again next week. In a bit, people.
Later, guys.